emergency?
I called a little bit ago, the deputy sheriff. I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month. We're talking about a 3-year-old little girl. My daughter finally admitted that the baby's in the store. I need to find her.
Your daughter admitted that the baby is where?
But the babysitter took her a month ago. My daughter's been looking for her. I told you my daughter was missing for a month. I just found her today, but I can't find my granddaughter. And she just admitted to me that she's been trying to find her herself. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
Okay, what is the 3-year-old's name?
Caylee, Caylee, Anthony.
Caylee Anthony?
Yes.
How long has she been missing for?
I have not seen her since the 7th of June.
Is your daughter there?
Yes.
Can I speak with her?
Okay, downstairs. They want to talk to you. Answer the question. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you tell me what's going on a little bit?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell me a little bit what's going on?
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
And you know who has her?
I know who has her. I've tried to contact her. I actually received a phone call today, now from a number that is no longer in service. I did get to speak to my daughter for about a minute.
Who has her? Do you have a name?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez.
A 2-year-old girl vanishes. But her mother doesn't call the police. Doesn't tell anyone. Instead, she goes clubbing. She competes in a hot body contest at Fusion nightclub in Orlando, grinding on the dance floor. She gets a tattoo on her shoulder that says Bella Vita, Italian for beautiful life. She sleeps over at her boyfriend's apartment. She throws parties. She shops at Target using stolen checks. For 31 days, Caylee Anthony lives her best life while her daughter Caylee slowly decomposes in the trunk of her car, wrapped in garbage bags with duct tape covering her mouth. When Caylee's mother finally discovers Caylee is missing and calls 911, she tells the operator, "There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car." But Caylee has a story ready. She says a nanny named Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez kidnapped Caylee a month ago. Police investigate. The nanny doesn't exist. Caylee leads them to an apartment where she claims the nanny lived. It's been vacant for months. She tells them she works at Universal Studios in event planning. They take her there. She walks them deep into the building before finally admitting she hasn't worked there in 3 years. Every word out of her mouth is a lie.
And they wanted to avenge her death in some way.
They said that the person that you dropped Caylee with doesn't even exist. Because, oh look, they can't find her in the Florida database. She's not just from Florida. They need to look up her information in a New York database, in a North Carolina database, other places that she's lived outside of Florida.
On Monday, June 9th, 2008, between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., I, Caylee Anthony, took my daughter, Caylee Marie Anthony, to her nanny's apartment. Zenaida Fernandez-Gonzalez has watched her for the past 1.5 to 2 years. However, after reaching the apartment, I realized that neither Zenaida, Caylee, or either of her 2 roommates were home.
Did you determine whether or not an individual by the name of Zenaida Gonzalez had been the last occupant of that apartment?
I researched the prior occupants of that apartment, and it was not Zenaida Gonzalez who occupied it.
And when Caylee's skeletal remains are finally discovered in December 2008, wrapped in a Winnie the Pooh blanket in the woods near the Anthony family home, the nation demands justice. But in July 2011, a Florida jury delivers the most shocking verdict in American legal history: not guilty. Caylee Anthony walks free. And America explodes in rage. This is the story of Tot Mom. The story of how a mother partied while her daughter died. And the story of how she got away with it. Caylee Marie Anthony was born on March 19, 1986, in Warren, Ohio. Her family moved to Orlando, Florida, when she was young. She was the oldest child of George and Cindy Anthony. George was a former police officer turned car salesman. Cindy was a nurse. They also had a son, Lee, who was 3 years younger than Casey. By all accounts, Casey had a normal middle-class upbringing. She attended Colonial High School in Orlando. She was popular, attractive, social. But she also had a troubling habit.
You know who has her?
I know who has her. I've tried to contact her. I actually received a phone call today, now from a number that is no longer in service. I did get to speak to my daughter for about a minute.
Who has her? Do you have a name?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez. She's been my nanny for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years.
Why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago?
I've been looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid. I think the officers are here.
The officers are there?
Yes.
Where we are right now is in a position that doesn't look very good for you. Because obviously, I know, and you know, that everything you told me is a lie, correct?
Not everything that I told you.
Pretty much everything that you've told me, including where Caylee is right now.
That I don't know where she is.
Sure you do. And here's,
absolutely do not know where she
let me explain something. Looking at you, I know that everything that you've told me is a lie. I am very confident, just by having talked to you this short period of time, that you know where she is.
I legitimately have not seen my daughter in 5 weeks. I didn't let anything happen to her, except I trusted her with somebody that had been taking care of her, that had been taking good care of her. Someone that she was comfortable with, that I was comfortable with.
What about Jeff? You said Jeff worked here until about 2 months ago?
No, he hasn't worked here for quite a while.
10 months? How long?
It's been at least 10 months.
Okay. He got fired in 2002. He hasn't been an employee here since 2002.
We put a lot more together than I think you realize we put together. My question to you is, we're in this office because our purpose in coming here was to do what?
I'm trying to think of places where I know she's been.
You're not answering my question. Do you want us to help?
Yes,
you want to help us find your daughter?
I do want you to.
Well, a good starting point would be to answer the questions, okay? If I say to you, we're here because, and then you just ignore that like I never asked it, and go off in some other direction, is that answering the question?
No.
Okay. Well, let's go through this again. We're here because?
Because I lied, because I brought you up here, and honestly I was reaching for
No, stop right
avenue.
there. I want you to tell me how lying to us is going to help us find your daughter.
It's not going to.
Well, then if the main thing you want to do is find your daughter, and you don't think lying to us is going to help us find her, why would you do that?
Because I'm scared, and I know I'm running out of options. It's been a month.
What are you scared of?
I'm scared of not seeing my daughter ever again.
I'm a parent too. I would have been beside myself.
I have been.
I would have called the police immediately, and that's the part that I just don't understand. Well, we've got so many resources out there that we could help on day one.
You didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do. At that point, I'm thinking, okay, they haven't been gone that long. Maybe I can find them. Maybe I can track them down.
We're not stupid, okay? And what you're doing right now is you're treating us like we're stupid. Everything that's coming out of your mouth is a lie. Everything. Either you gave Caylee to someone and you don't want anyone to find out because you think you're a bad mom, or something happened to Caylee and Kaylee's buried somewhere or in a trash can somewhere, and you had something to do with it. Either way, right now, it's not a very pretty picture to be painting. You're painting yourself as a very bad person. It needs to end.
The truthful thing is that I have not seen my daughter. The last time that I saw her was on the 9th of June.
Remember we had those two people that we were talking about, the person who had an accident and a person who's just a cold-blooded, callous monster? That's telling me that you are the second person, this cold-blooded, callous monster who doesn't care and doesn't want to help because she's afraid that something so heinous happened that everyone's going to look at her and say, she's a monster, she deserves to go away, she deserves to never see the light of day, this bad thing should happen to her. I don't want to believe that right now, but you're giving me no choice. Tell us what happened to Caylee. Tell us what happened to Caylee.
I dropped off Caylee. And that's the last time that I've seen her. I dropped her off.
Where did you drop her off?
I dropped her off at that apartment.
No, you didn't.
That's exactly where I dropped her off.
Did you just think that one day she's just going to show up at your house?
No, I sat around yesterday trying to figure out what to do. I'm glad that I ended up seeing my mom, that all of that stuff happened. It happened for a reason because
you're glad you saw your mom. You could have saw your mom 5 weeks ago and said, Mom, I don't know what.
I saw my mom's reaction right off the bat, and it would have been the same from the get-go.
So wait a minute, you're more afraid of your mom's reaction than you are if you ever see your daughter again?
No, I'm absolutely petrified. Absolutely petrified. I know my mom will never forgive me. I'm never going to forgive myself.
Is it that there's some other thing more important in your life right now that you just weren't really focused on what you were saying when you told us, so you kind of just accidentally told us you had an office here and we needed to be here, or did you purposely mislead us? Which of those two is it?
I purposely misled.
Okay, so you purposely misled us. This was all in an attempt to help find your daughter, right? That makes sense to you, correct?
In a backward sort of way, yes.
Backwards sort
I'm
of way.
coming back to places that are familiar to me, that I know are familiar to her. Familiar situations that maybe would help. She's almost 3.
She's almost 3. What, do you think she's going to take a cab here? I mean,
I know
how do you think she's going to get here?
Because she's with someone else.
She's with someone else who's hid her from you for 5 weeks.
Yes.
Why would a person who has hid your daughter from you for 5 weeks, okay, bring her to the building that you used to work at?
I don't know what else to do anymore. If I knew where she was, if something would have happened, I would have admitted that a long time ago.
Do you believe thinking up more lies to tell us will help us?
She's with someone that I absolutely do not trust, and that I'm absolutely scared
that you don't trust yet was babysitting your daughter for a year.
I don't trust her now because of what happened.
Who did you call first? Who did you go to for help first to help try to find her?
No one.
Oh, no one. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that straightened out.
She lied. Constantly. About everything. She told friends her father was dying of a heart attack when he wasn't. She told her parents she was graduating high school when she was actually several credits short. She invented a fake friend named Juliette Lewis, who supposedly worked at Universal Studios and got Casey free passes to theme parks. Her parents knew she lied, but they enabled it. They made excuses. They covered for her. When Casey got pregnant in 2004 at age 18, she hid it from everyone for 7 months. She told friends she was just gaining weight. By the time her pregnancy became undeniable, her family threw her a baby shower and welcomed the baby with open arms. On August 9, 2005, Casey gave birth to a baby girl, Caylee Anthony. Casey never publicly identified Caylee's father. She told different people different stories, one ex-boyfriend, then another, then a third. DNA tests on the men she named all came back negative. To this day, Caylee's biological father remains unknown. Casey and Caylee lived with George and Cindy in their home on Hope Spring Drive in Orlando. Cindy essentially became Caylee's primary caregiver while Casey went out with friends, partied, and pretended to have jobs she didn't actually hold. Casey told people she worked as an event planner at Universal Studios. It was a complete lie.
Casey?
Mom.
Hey, sweetie.
Oh, I just saw your nice little cameo on TV.
Which one?
What do you mean, which one?
Which one? I did 4 different ones, and I don't know. I haven't seen them all. I've only seen 1 or 2 so far.
You don't know what my involvement is and stuff?
Casey.
Mom.
What?
No.
I don't know what your involvement is, sweetheart. You're not telling me where she's at.
Because I don't know where she's at. Are you kidding me?
Casey, don't waste your call to scream and holler at me.
Waste my call sitting in the jail?
Whose fault is you sitting in the jail? You're blaming me that you're sitting in the jail?
Not
Blame
my
yourself
fault.
for telling lies. You mean it's not your fault? What do you mean it's not your fault, sweetheart? If you'd have told them the truth and not lied about everything, they wouldn't...
Do me a favor, just tell me what Tony's number is. I don't want to talk to you right now.
I don't have his number.
We'll get it from Lee because I know Lee's at the house. Get Tony's number for me. Hey, can you give me Tony's number?
I can do that. I don't know what real good it's going to do you at this point.
Well, I'd like to talk to him anyway.
Okay.
Because I called to talk to my mother, and it's waste. Oh, by the way, I don't want any of you coming up here when I have my first hearing for bond and everything else. Like, don't even waste your time coming up here.
You're making it real tough for anybody to want to try to... I'm not going around and around with you. That's pretty pointless. Christina would love to talk to you because she thinks that you will tell her what's going on. Frankly, we're going to find out. Everything
I have
she's
no
telling
clue
them
where
is
Caylee
lie.
is. If I knew where Caylee was, do you think any of this would be happening? No.
Anyway, you only got a couple minutes with us, so I'm not going to let you completely waste it. Here's Christina. She thinks she can get through.
No, I want Tony's number. I'm not talking to anybody else.
Hello?
Hi, I'm glad everybody's at my house. Do me a favor, get my brother back because I need Tony's number.
Does Tony have anything to do with Caylee?
No, nothing.
Okay, so why do you want to talk to Tony?
He's my boyfriend, and I want to actually try to sit and talk to him because I didn't get a chance to talk to him earlier because I got arrested on whim today. I just want to talk to Tony and get a little bit of...
Casey, you have to tell me if you know anything about Caylee.
Sweetheart,
if anything happens with Caylee, Casey, I'll die. You understand? I'll die. If anything happens to that baby.
Oh my God, calling you guys, a waste. Huge waste.
What's that t-shirt? I didn't get a chance to ask him, other things
Caylee's
besides.
picture's on the back.
Is it? Can Dad show me the shirt?
Yeah, turn around so she can see. It's the Never Lose Hope Foundation. Do you see it?
I can see part of it, yeah.
Have you seen me? And then it has the information on how to contact.
Okay.
Casey, you don't realize the whole United States is looking for our Caylee.
I know that, Mom.
Her cover's going to be on People magazine in a few days.
Okay.
Everybody is looking for her.
Good.
Everybody is looking for her. Are we going to be able to find her, do you think?
I hope we can, Mom. Now, I didn't get a chance to ask Lee.
Can you look up a little bit more? Raise your eyes up a little bit. There you go. So now, look straight up so I can look into your eyes, darling. Thank you. I need to do that. It's okay to cry, Casey.
Hey, gorgeous, how you doing?
I look like hell.
Well, you know something? You really need to keep your spirit high for all this.
I haven't been crying while I've been in here.
Well, you know
trying
something?
to read books and do other things to keep my mind off of stuff.
She'd been fired from Universal in 2006, shortly after returning from maternity leave. But Caylee was a happy, beautiful child. She had big brown eyes, curly hair, and an infectious smile. Her grandparents adored her. Home videos show Caylee singing songs, playing dress up, swimming in the backyard pool. George called her my sunshine. Cindy was fiercely protective of her granddaughter. By 2008, Casey was 22 years old and chafing under her parents' rules. She wanted freedom. She wanted to party. She wanted to be young and unencumbered. And Caylee, as much as Casey claimed to love her, was a burden. In April 2008, Casey started dating a new boyfriend, Tony Lazaro. Tony was a college student, DJ, and photographer. He lived in an apartment with roommates. Casey started spending more and more time there, often bringing Caylee along initially. But gradually, Caylee stopped coming. Casey told Tony that Caylee was with the nanny or with Casey's parents. On June 15, 2008. Father's Day, Cindy and Caylee visited Cindy's father at a nursing home. It would be the last confirmed sighting of Caylee alive.
From Michigan.
You mean Mark's psycho ex-wife, Tara?
Yes.
Listen. People like Tara, people like Jesse who are maybe trying to help, even Christina, God bless her, don't know what the hell they're talking about. Coleslaw today. Tell them I ate coleslaw.
Well, you're probably eating a lot of things you never used to eat before because when you're hungry, you'll eat.
I hated bologna. I've been eating bologna and cheese on occasion. Grits. I don't do grits at all. It's terrible.
Well, you know what? You're going to eat what's in front of you.
I want you to know, I want to take your pain away from you. So, you can tell me anything.
I know that, Dad.
I miss you, sweetie.
I know that. I miss you, too.
I wish I could have been a better dad and better grandpa,
You've been a great dad, and you've been the best grandfather. Don't for a second think otherwise.
Well, you
and Mom have been the best grandparents. Caylee's been so lucky. Caylee is so lucky to have both of you. I can't even put into words how glad I am that she's had both of you. and that she still has both of you.
You know, it goes without saying, you know, that our house is empty without both of you there. It's empty. All the little things we took for granted, we miss them so much.
That's exactly how I feel.
All your little things and all her little things, it hurts. We're not there. Mom and I are just going through the motions, you know?
There are photos from that day. Caylee at the nursing home, smiling. Later that evening, Cindy and Caylee swam together in the backyard pool. George saw Casey and Caylee leave the house around 12:50 p.m. on June 16th with backpacks. Casey drove to Tony's apartment. Security footage from Tony's building shows Casey arriving alone at 5:57 p.m. on June 16th. No Caylee. That evening, Casey and Tony rented movies from Blockbuster, Untraceable, and another film. Caylee was not with them. Casey stayed overnight at Tony's. Where was Caylee? According to prosecutors, Caylee was already dead. Sometime between the afternoon of June 16th and the evening, Casey killed her daughter. The prosecution's theory was that Casey used chloroform to sedate Caylee, then suffocated her with duct tape over her nose and mouth.
Never searched by her full name. They searched by Zenaida Fernandez or Zenaida Gonzalez, never by her full name.
And it's Z-E-N.
Z-E-N-A-I-D-A. I don't think she has a middle name. There was never a middle name on anything that I remember seeing. And I know she went by both last names. She always has. Since she was younger, since her mom remarried.
So Flores Gonzalez, and you don't know what her stepdad
Fernandez Gonzalez.
But you don't know what Fernandez Gonzalez.
I think her dad's first name is Victor. Her stepdad, or that could be her real dad. But I remember her saying Victor. Victor and Gloria were her parents.
Victor and Gloria are her parents, but they're separated or divorced.
They are as of now, yeah. That was her stepdad.
Divorced.
But I know she has a lot of money. That's where she got the car from.
I only get one or two phone calls a day that, you know, that are not nice phone calls. But I get many phone calls and many people reaching out that just believe in you. They believe in us finding Caylee. Okay? So keep your head up high. But if you think of anything that could help, don't be afraid.
Oh, I won't hesitate to let you guys know.
You have to keep thinking positive. Positive feelings, Casey.
Oh, I know. I have been. I've been staying as positive as I can.
But do you think after this long she'd still be local?
There's a possibility.
What's your gut telling you right now?
My gut's telling me that she's okay.
Okay. And your gut tells you that she's close or she's hiding?
She's not far. I know in my heart she's not far. I can feel it.
Casey put Caylee's body in the trunk of her white Pontiac Sunfire and left her there for days while the body decomposed. According to the defense, Caylee accidentally drowned in the family's backyard pool on the morning of June 16th. George Anthony discovered the drowning and, along with Casey, covered it up to avoid a child neglect investigation. The defense claimed George had sexually molested Casey since childhood, teaching her to lie and hide the truth. George denied all of this. And the timeline didn't support the defense theory. If Caylee drowned accidentally on June 16th, why did Casey immediately go to her boyfriend's apartment and act completely normal? Why rent movies? Why not call 911? What we know for certain is this: Caylee was gone. And Casey said nothing. For the next 31 days, Casey lived a beautiful life. June 20th, 2008. Casey went to Fusion nightclub in Orlando and participated in a hot body contest, grinding on the dance floor in a tight blue dress.
So, I mean, we all still feel. I, as a mom, I know in my gut, there's the feeling as a parent, you know certain things about your child, you can feel that connection. And I still have that feeling, that presence. I know that she's alive. Whether you have a bucket load of evidence downstairs that contradicts that and says otherwise, or all you have is speculation.
Hey, sweetie. Well, I just saw your nice little cameo on TV.
How come everybody's saying that you're not upset, that you're not crying, that you show no caring of where Caylee is at all?
I'm not sitting here fucking crying every 2 seconds because I have to stay composed to talk to detectives, to make other phone calls, to do other things. I can't sit here and be crying every 2 seconds like I want to. I can't.
And what is your relationship to truth and lying today?
I'm a little too honest. I'm blunt. I'm direct. Almost painfully so. And that I had something to say to make my daughter proud, but also to honor her properly. And this is part of that. I still don't know. What happened to Caylee? I know what I'm afraid of. I know what eats at me at night. I know what eats at me day after day. Because I know what I lived through. But I'm still defending the fact that I didn't hurt her. I live it every single day. And no one can ever tell me I should just get over the fact that my daughter isn't here and I've been blamed for her being gone.
Photos from that night show her laughing, dancing, drinking. She looked like she didn't have a care in the world. June 25, 2008, Caylee was photographed at another party, smiling and posing for pictures. July 2, 2008, Caylee got a tattoo on her left shoulder. The words, Bella Vita, beautiful life, in script. The tattoo artist, Bobby Williams, later testified that Caylee seemed happy and upbeat. She told him her daughter was with the nanny and she'd bring Caylee next time she came in. During these 31 days, Caylee's parents repeatedly asked where Caylee was. Caylee had an excuse every time. Caylee was at the beach with the nanny. Caylee was at theme parks. Caylee was at a sleepover. Caylee was in Jacksonville. Caylee's mother Cindy grew increasingly suspicious. On July 3, Caylee told her parents she had to stay in Tampa for work. But her car was actually in an impound lot in Orlando. It had been towed on June 30 after being abandoned. When George and Cindy picked up the car from the tow yard on July 15, the smell hit them immediately. It smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car, Cindy would later tell a 911 operator. George Anthony had been a police officer. He knew that smell. He knew what it meant. But he said nothing at first. He and Cindy drove the car home, cleaned out the trash from the trunk, and Cindy even washed Caylee's pants that had been in the car, potentially destroying evidence. But Cindy couldn't ignore her instincts. She tracked Caylee down at Tony Lazzaro's apartment and demanded to see Caylee. Caylee stalled. She made excuses. Finally, Caylee admitted Caylee wasn't there. She said Caylee was with the nanny, Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, and that Zenaida had taken Caylee 31 days ago. Cindy was horrified. Why hadn't Caylee reported this?
When I lied, during this and even prior to, there was always at least some part of the truth that was a part of the lie. This was the place that Zenaida Gonzalez, or Zanny the nanny as she was referred to, was allegedly living. The whole nanny thing started because there were times where I wanted to have a night with my friends, but I also wanted to have my daughter there with me because I knew my father was going to be home. So I told my mom, I'm going to drop her off with my friend Zanny. She would never even leave my room without telling me, even if she had to go to the bathroom. She'd never just leave me there. She knew she wasn't allowed to just be in the house by herself. There are too many scenarios of what could have happened, but her drowning in the pool is not one. It's not possible. In most scenarios, it would be plausible. Not in this one. The ladder wasn't on the pool. It's the only way in or out, for her, or for me.
Caylee claimed she'd been conducting her own investigation, trying to find Caylee herself. It made no sense. On July 15, 2008, Caylee Anthony called 911. 3 times. The first call was about Caylee stealing her car and money. The second call was calmer. Cindy reported that her granddaughter had been taken by a nanny 31 days earlier. The third call was frantic. My daughter finally admitted that the babysitter stole her. I need to find her. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car. The dispatcher asked to speak to Casey. Casey got on the phone and calmly explained that her nanny, Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, nicknamed Zani, had taken Caylee on June 9th. She'd last seen them at Sawgrass Apartments. She'd been looking for Caylee ever since. Police arrived and immediately knew something was very wrong. Casey's story kept changing. She led detectives to Sawgrass Apartments, to an apartment she said Zani lived in. The apartment had been vacant since February 2008. Nobody named Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez had ever lived there. The next day, July 16th, Casey agreed to take police to her job at Universal Studios to show them her office and introduce them to her co-workers who might know about the nanny. Casey led detectives deep into Universal Studios, walking through hallways confidently as if she worked there.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected and sworn as the jury to try the case of the state of Florida versus Caylee Marie Anthony.
This is the case of the state of Florida versus Caylee Marie Anthony. However, it is time to tell the story of a little girl named Caylee.
George Anthony specifically recalls that at 12:50 p.m. on June 16th of 2008, George Anthony kissed his granddaughter goodbye and never saw her again. His daughter, Casey, left the residence on Hope Spring Drive with Caylee Marie Anthony. She told her mother that she was going to spend the night with a babysitter by the name of Sandy. You will learn there is no Sandy. The body of Caylee Marie Anthony had been wrapped in a Winnie the Pooh blanket and thrown into a littered swamp like she was just another piece of trash. Caylee's death allowed Caylee Anthony to live the good life, at least for those 31 days.
How in the world can a mother wait 30 days before ever reporting her child missing? It's insane. It's bizarre. Well, the answer is actually relatively simple. She never was missing. Caylee Anthony died on June 16, 2008, when she drowned in her family's swimming pool. As soon as Casey came around this corner and went back, she saw George Anthony holding Caylee in his arms. She immediately grabbed Caylee and began to cry. Her death was covered up. This family must keep its secrets quiet. And it all began when Casey was 8 years old and her father came into her room and began to touch her inappropriately. Casey has a brother. When he was a teenager, he attempted to also touch his sister. Casey was raised to lie. That will help you understand why no one knew that her child was dead.
Finally, when they reached a dead-end hallway, Casey stopped. I don't work here, she admitted. She hadn't worked at Universal since 2006. Detective Yuri Melik was stunned. Everything you've told us is a lie. Casey shrugged. She was arrested that day and charged with child neglect, providing false statements to law enforcement, and obstruction of a criminal investigation. For the next 5 months, the search for Caylee continued. Volunteers combed through Orlando. Cindy and George appeared on TV begging for Caylee's safe return. George even attempted suicide in January 2009, leaving a 5-page note saying he'd been pushed to the brink. But Casey, sitting in jail, showed no emotion. She gave jailhouse interviews where she seemed annoyed, inconvenienced. When her parents visited, she asked about her boyfriend Tony and complained about seeing her face on TV. She never asked about Caylee. On December 11, 2008, a utility worker named Roy Crunk was clearing brush near the Anthony home. He'd actually called police about the area back in August, saying he thought he saw something suspicious, but officers hadn't thoroughly searched then. Now, in December, Kronk found a small skull in a laundry bag. Duct tape was still adhered to the skull, positioned over where the nose and mouth would have been. It was Caylee. Her remains had been there for months, decomposing in the Florida heat, less than a half-mile from her grandparents' house. On December 19, 2008, the medical examiner confirmed the remains were Caylee Marie Anthony. The cause of death was ruled homicide by undetermined means. The duct tape was the key piece of evidence. Prosecutors believed it had been used to suffocate Caylee. On October 14, 2008, before Caylee's body was found, a grand jury had already indicted Caylee Anthony on charges of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter, and providing false information. Now, with Caylee's body recovered, the case moved forward. Prosecutors sought the death penalty. The trial began on May 24, 2011, and it became a national obsession. Court TV, now True TV, live-streamed every moment. Nancy Grace on HLN covered it obsessively, coining the term, Tot Mom, for Caylee. Millions of Americans tuned in daily. The prosecution, led by Linda Drain Burdick and Jeff Ashton, argued that Caylee had murdered Caylee to free herself from the responsibilities of motherhood. They presented evidence of computer searches on the Anthony family computer for chloroform, how to make chloroform, and neck breaking from March 2008, 3 months before Caylee died. Air samples from Caylee's car trunk tested positive for chemical compounds consistent with human decomposition. A single hair found in the trunk showed apparent decomposition. It was microscopically similar to Caylee's hair. Witnesses testified about the smell in Caylee's car. Multiple people, including George Anthony and the tow truck driver, said it smelled like a dead body. Cadaver dogs alerted to the trunk and to the Anthony backyard. And then there was Caylee's behavior. The prosecution showed photos of Caylee partying at clubs while Caylee was missing. They showed the Bella Vita tattoo. They showed her shopping at Target with stolen checks, renting movies with Tony, acting completely carefree. She celebrated the death of Caylee, Prosecutor Burdick told the jury. The defense, led by Jose Baez, countered with a shocking claim. Caylee had drowned accidentally in the family pool on June 16. George Anthony found her body and told Caylee they had to cover it up or Caylee would be blamed for neglect. George disposed of the body. And Caylee, traumatized by years of sexual abuse from her father, went along with it. Her partying behavior wasn't celebration, it was dissociation, a coping mechanism learned from childhood abuse. George took the stand and denied everything. He denied the drowning. He denied the sexual abuse. He wept on the stand, calling the accusations against him lies. The trial lasted 6 weeks. 89 witnesses testified. On July 5, 2011, the jury began deliberations.
When you first met Ms. Anthony, can you tell the jury how she appeared?
She always seemed like she was having a good time.
Did you ever see her distraught?
No, sir.
Depressed?
No, sir.
Scared?
No, sir.
She was partying and having a good time. Did she tell you that her daughter was missing?
No.
Did she ever tell you that her daughter had been kidnapped?
No.
That she was missing?
No.
No.
No, sir. No, sir.
Did you ever ask the defendant where Caylee was?
Yes, sir, I did.
What did she tell you?
And that she was at Disney World with the nanny. She said she was with the nanny.
She told me that she was spending the weekend at the beach with the nanny.
Did Caylee Anthony ever tell you that her daughter was missing?
No, sir.
That she was looking for her?
No.
That she needed any help?
Nope. No, sir.
Did she ever cry?
No.
Did she ever act scared?
Nope.
At any time during this night, did she ever tell you that her child was missing?
No, sir.
How come everybody's saying that you're not upset, that you're not crying, that you show no caring of where Caylee is at all? I'm not sitting here crying every 2 seconds because I have to stay composed to talk to detectives. You have to tell me if you know anything about Caylee. Sweetheart, if anything happens with Caylee Casey, I'll die. You understand? I'll die. If anything happens to that baby. Oh my god. Calling you guys? A waste. Huge waste.
Everything that's coming out of your mouth is a lie. Everything. And what happened to Caylee?
I don't know.
Sure you do.
I don't.
We're talking about cold, hard evidence. And he could get up here and lie all he wants and dance around the truth, but the truth is the truth. And depending on who's asking the questions, whether it's this laughing guy right here or whether it's myself.
Objection. Approach the bench.
How is the good faith basis relevance of that? That is not the question counsel asked, and he darn well knows it.
10 hours and 40 minutes later, they reached a verdict. The courtroom was packed. The nation watched. Not guilty of first-degree murder. Not guilty of aggravated child abuse. Not guilty of aggravated manslaughter. Guilty on 4 counts of providing false information to law enforcement, all misdemeanors. The courtroom erupted. People screamed. Outside, hundreds of protesters chanted, "Justice for Caylee." Caylee Anthony sobbed at the defense table, covering her face. America was furious. How could a jury acquit her? The evidence seemed so clear. But the jury explained, the prosecution hadn't proven how Caylee died. There was no cause of death. No murder weapon. No concrete evidence that Caylee had administered chloroform or duct-taped Caylee's mouth. Yes, Caylee was a liar. Yes, she partied while her daughter was missing. But lying and bad behavior don't equal murder. The prosecution had to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And the jury said they hadn't. Judge Belvin Perry sentenced Caylee to 4 years in prison for the lying convictions, but she received credit for time served. On July 17, 2011, Caylee Anthony walked out of jail a free woman. She was 25 years old. Her daughter was dead. And she was despised by millions. In the years since, Caylee has lived in hiding. In 2012, she filed for bankruptcy. In 2013, a Florida appeals court overturned 2 of her lying convictions. She worked briefly as a photographer, then as a researcher for a private investigator. She covered her Bella Vita tattoo with flowers. In 2017, Caylee gave her first interview to the Associated Press. She said she still didn't know how Caylee died. In November 2022, she participated in a Peacock documentary called Caylee Anthony, Where the Truth Lies. In it, she repeated the drowning theory and blamed her father. George and Cindy Anthony called her claims lies and hurtful claims. In 2025, Caylee was photographed in New Hampshire with a mystery man, drinking beer at a sports bar. People recognized her and took photos. Online outrage exploded. She should be in prison, thousands commented. The case remains one of the most controversial in American history. Legal experts still debate what happened. Some believe Caylee used chloroform and duct tape. Some believe Caylee drowned and Caylee panicked. Some believe George was involved. But everyone agrees on one thing. Caylee Marie Anthony deserved better. She was 2 years old. She loved to sing. She loved Winnie the Pooh. She deserved a mother who protected her. She deserved to grow up. Instead, her life ended before her 3rd birthday. And the person responsible, whether through murder or negligence, walked free. Caylee's grandparents, George and Cindy, have dedicated their lives to her memory. They visit her grave regularly. They've become advocates for missing children. But their family is destroyed. Their daughter became a pariah. Their granddaughter is gone forever. Caylee Anthony is now 38 years old. She lives somewhere in Florida under a different name. She rarely appears in public. When she does, she's recognized and harassed. Some call her the most hated woman in America. Others call her a victim of a rush to judgment. But no matter what you believe, one truth remains. A little girl named Caylee died. And 31 days passed before anyone reported her missing. 31 days of clubbing and tattoos and stolen checks. 31 days of lies. And in the end, no one paid the price. except Caylee.
What is that symbol that you are projecting with your fingers?
Using my middle finger, and I am sorry.
Okay, and what does that mean, sir?
The F word to someone.
At this time, I will adjudge you to be guilty. I will sentence you to 6 days in Orange County Jail, or he will be remanded.
Everything that's coming out of your mouth is a lie. Everything. So I can look at you in one of a couple of ways. I can look at you as a person who's scared, who's concerned, or we can look at you as cold, callous, and a monster who doesn't care, who's just trying to get away with something something bad that happened and trying to cover it up. Or we're not stupid, okay? And what you're doing right now is you're treating us like we're stupid.
Casey? Mom. Hey, sweetie. Oh, I just saw your nice little cameo on TV. You don't know what my involvement is and stuff? You're not telling me where she's at? Because I don't know where she's at. Are you kidding me? I don't want to talk to you right now. Forget it. I want to talk to my mother, and it's a waste.
What happened to Caylee?
I don't know.
Sure you do.
I don't know.
Something, or I'm guessing something bad happened to her some time ago and you haven't seen her. She's either
someone else.
No, she's either in a dumpster right now, she's buried somewhere.
I'm a meter reader with Orange County, and I had the route today that included the Anthony's home. And there's a lot of swamp back in there. Well, back behind one of the trees down there was a gray bag, and then a little bit further up than that, I saw something white. And it would be on the right-hand side that I saw what I saw.
There have been significant skeletal remains located late this afternoon. The skeletal remains are still the consistency of a small child.
The discovery comes a week after a child's skull was found in a nearby wooded area, blocks away from where the 2-year-old lived with her mother and grandparents.
We have secured the Anthony house. We've also exhumed the remains, and that has been transported to the medical examiner's office.
Did you receive results from the FBI as to the identification of the remains?
Yes.
And did that laboratory identify the remains as that is Caylee Marie Anthony?
Yes, they did.
Do you have an opinion as to the manner of death in this case?
It is a red flag that when a child is not reported immediately to authorities, that's something we look for foul play. Besides the delay, besides the being found in a field decomposed, would be the duct tape somewhere located on the lower half of this face. There is no child that should have duct tape on its face when it dies.
Based on the skeletal condition of the remains, can you render a medical conclusion on the cause of death?
What I put was homicide of undetermined means.
There's the proof that she could easily get outside. There's the proof that she was big enough and strong enough to open the door. You can't get anything better than that. And look at how soft Cindy is holding her or touching her. She's on her own. And look at what Caylee's doing. Caylee's diving into that water. George began to yell at her. Look what you've done! Your mother will never forgive you, and you will go to jail for child neglect for the rest of your freaking life. Why did George do this? Why didn't he call 911?
Were you present in your home when Caylee Anthony died?
No, and when I heard that today, it hurt really bad. Because if I would have known something would have happened to Caylee, we wouldn't be here today.
Did you dispose of the body of your granddaughter?
No, I did not.
Mr. Baez, what would you see to determine whether someone drowned?
Well,
if a body's not found in a pool.
To answer the court's question, I believe, was what record evidence is there that the victim drowned? The answer is none. Casey is staying with her boyfriend, Tony, and sadly, Caylee is in all likelihood in the trunk.
I am a forensic chemist examiner,
canine handler,
hair and fiber examiner, professor of anthropology,
geologist, forensic examiner, forensic toxicologist, computer examiner,
human identification laboratory.
in the latent print operations unit.
My specialty is analytical chemistry.
insect evidence.
Did you find any hairs that showed evidence of apparent decomposition?
One of the items showed, had a hair that exhibited characteristics of decomposition.
Have you ever had the opportunity in your 30 years in the towing business to come across a vehicle in which there had been a dead body?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able at that juncture to make any connection?
It was an odor consistent of what I'd smelled in the past when it comes to decomposition. It's not a smell that you forget.
My opinion is that it was the smell of human decomposition.
The trunk of my daughter's car smelled like human decomposition.
There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
When someone dies, the gases that are produced from the bacterial metabolism have really no place to escape. And we began monitoring which chemicals are being produced.
Do you have an opinion as to whether there was a decomposing human body in the trunk of that car at some point?
I do have an opinion on it.
And what is that opinion?
I can find no other plausible explanation other than that.
You know that your findings are not generally accepted in the scientific community, do you not?
Objection.
Sustained.
Strike.
Granted.
What chemical compounds did that initial evaluation show?
The large peak was identified as chloroform because the chloroform was shockingly high, unusually high.
Any clues or anything that I should focus on at the house? Mom's house, your house?
Outside of maybe stuff on the computer, nothing I can think of.
On the computer.
Were you asked to perform a keyword search for chloroform?
Yes, I was. In this case, with the chloroform keyword search hit, we were able to recover a complete internet history from Mozilla Firefox.
All right, so if the user at the time typed in how to make chloroform?
Yes.
In our case, there has been no evidence presented that Caylee Marie Anthony used duct tape for any purpose, that she used chloroform ever for any purpose, and that in any way, in any capacity whatsoever, she contributed to the cause of death of this child. It is forcing, guessing, and speculation.
Ms. Burdick, you may proceed.
Casey's car was in Orlando.
Yes, ma'am.
Once the car is in the garage, do you access it in some fashion?
Yes, Casey's purse was on the front seat, and that Caylee's baby doll, her favorite doll was in the car seat, like it was sitting where Caylee would have sat. Can I have a break, sir? Can I have a break?
A drink? Okay, let's take a 5-minute recess.
All right, that's false George Anthony.
In January, late January of 2009, you attempted to commit suicide. Did you, sir?
Yes, sir, I did.
So you were drinking beer and blood pressure medication?
You have to be specific with me, sir. Give me a date, and I'll answer.
I'm giving you a date, but my
no, sir. You are badgering me. You're trying to get me upset, sir. I'm just asking you. Treat me with a little bit of respect, and you'll get respect back. That's all I'm asking.
Mr. Anthony, would you like to answer my question now?
Objection to counsel's commentary.
Mr. Anthony, do you know a woman by the name of Crystal Holloway?
I know her by that name and also another name.
Okay. Did you have a romantic relationship with her?
No, sir. No. To me, that's very funny.
Very funny.
Yes, sir.
Defense calls Crystal Holloway. Did you develop a relationship with Mr. Anthony?
Yes, sir, I did.
Was this an intimate relationship?
Yes.
Did there ever come an occasion where you had a heart-to-heart conversation with George Anthony as to what happened to his granddaughter?
He was sitting on my couch, and he had told me, he had said it was an accident that snowballed out of control.
Cross-examination?
How much money did you get from the National Enquirer for selling your story?
$4,000.
$4,000.
You may be seated. All right, gentlemen.
You know, of course, that sex with a child under the age of 12 years old is life in prison, don't you, sir?
Relevance.
Sustained.
You're aware of the possible penalties of child molesting, don't you, sir?
Objection. Relevance.
Sustained.
You, of course, would never admit to molesting your child, would you, sir?
Objection. Argumentative.
Sir, I would never do anything to harm my daughter in that way.
Only in that way.
Objection.
Sir.
Move.
Sustained.
Were you aware of there being a reward offered for the finding of Caylee? I think that you'll see that despite the outcry, the notoriety, the emotions, so forth, the case is not here.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the attorneys now will present their final arguments.
And you have a child. That child becomes your life. This case is about the clash between that responsibility and the life that Caylee Anthony wanted to have. She took her life and she put her in the trunk and forgot about her. And she disposed of her body in a swamp. It is a trip down the rabbit hole into a bizarre world where men who love their granddaughters find them drowned and do nothing. This is the world that the defense invites you to occupy. Caylee Anthony is guilty of murder in the first degree.
I have to tell you that I probably think you have more questions than you have answers. It is extremely reasonable that she could have drowned in the pool. And that's where the state fails. They must rebut each and every reasonable hypothesis of innocence. They cannot rebut this. They're hoping they throw enough against the wall and see what sticks. Right down to their cause of death. 1 week it was chloroform. Today it's duct tape. I'm not proud of the way Caylee behaved. I don't think anybody here can justify her actions, but they do not constitute murder.
The defendant is not required to present evidence or prove anything. Never forget, no matter what the issue is, they have all of the burden and there is none over here.
Members of the jury, I would like to thank you for your attention during the trial. Please pay attention to the instructions I'm about to give you. Members of the jury, you may retire now to begin your deliberations.
Cheney, do you think she's going to walk today? I'm just asking for a prediction, sir.
Keep moving, please. Keep moving. Keep moving.
Well, into the show here, Cheney.
Keep moving. Clear the way. Clear the way. Clear the way. Clear the way. Clear the way.
It has been brought to my attention that the jury has reached a verdict. State?
The state's ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Defense?
Defense is ready.
Let's return to jury. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Have you reached a verdict?
Sir.
Would you hand the verdict form to the court deputy, please? Will the defendant rise along with counsel? Madam Clerk, you may publish the verdicts.
As to the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
I mean, they just let a baby killer, an obvious baby killer out of jail.
Justice for Caylee! Justice for Caylee! Justice for Caylee! Justice for Caylee!
As to the charge of aggravated child abuse, verdict as to count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. As to the charge of aggravated manslaughter of a child, verdict as to count 3, We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty to count 4. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of providing false information to a law enforcement officer as charged in the indictment.
Appeal! 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 Appeal!
I would ask her, how do you sleep? How do you sleep each night? What did you do?
Could shake up the Caylee Anthony case. Last year, Anthony, you may recall, was found not guilty of murdering her daughter, Caylee. Now her lawyer tells our Orlando station, WKMG, that the prosecution failed to bring up key computer evidence. It seems to show that Anthony did a web search on how to kill and poison and suffocate on the same afternoon that her daughter was murdered.
We were waiting for the state to bring it up, and when they didn't, we were kind of shocked. Why they didn't bring it up or how it happened, you'd have to ask them about it. I don't understand how no one ever knew about this evidence. We were keeping it close to the vest and ready to counterpunch in the trial, and it never came up.
The sheriff's office admits it failed to give prosecutors that information.
I stand here today proud to be the grandfather of Caylee Marie Anthony, who not only meant the world to me, but meant the world to my family and so many of you that never got a chance to actually hug her, smell her hair, smell the sweet sweat when she came in from outside.
Are you fucking kidding?
To hear her call me JoJo, I miss that kiss on the cheek, that special hug that I tell everyone, it's so great to get a hug from someone, but to get a hug from a small child, that gives me energy like you couldn't imagine.
That's not normal. Nothing about that is fucking normal. You're outright telling the world that you're a... Jesus Christ.
I'm not going to say how much I'm going to miss things that I won't be able to do with her, because someday I'll be able to hold her hand again in God's heaven. I'll be able to take her in wagon rides. I'll be able to kiss her. I'll be able to smell her again.
I sweat to death. Okay. Today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Caylee Anthony. My daughter is Caylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things that they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. Moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to. So with that, please join me on Substack. If you have questions, I will set up an email address where we can correspond directly. Up until this point, that has never happened, and it's only going to be on a limited basis regarding legal issues, legal matters. One of the main reasons that I'm doing this, there are people close to me who have been targeted and attacked recently. There are also people close to me who have had some recent things occur, and when necessary, people needed to step up, myself included. So as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me and now look at as a blessing as opposed to the curse that it has been since 2008. With that, these aren't going to be perfect. They're not going to be edited. Most of the time, they're not going to be short. But I am proverbially standing in the light, embracing this piece, still going to keep my privacy intact, so you will get very comfortable with my car, and I will explain in great detail why it's so important for people to protect their privacy. It's not just important to public figures, it's even more important to private individuals. And with the current climate in our country especially, it's that much more important, which is why I am utilizing the Substack platform. Yes, I am advertising this and publishing this on TikTok, possibly also through other meta platforms, but my intention is to separate from that and showcase even more why Substack is such an important resource for people to utilize moving forward. Anyway, I appreciate your time, and we'll see how this goes. Those of you
who is we exactly? Like, certainly not me. Like, they found her kid's corpse in the back of her car. I am not apologizing to her.